speaking up and speaking out. And if you can speak up for your favorite sports team, I know you can speak up for anything. So I have the pleasure today to introduce our keynote speaker. Many of you know Alex Plank. Alex was a featured presenter at the art conference, and he's back in Illinois by popular demand, because you all love him, huh? All right. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Alex here. He's a 25-year-old guy behind TheWrongPlanet.net. It's an incredible popular site for individuals with Asperger syndrome and autism. Both Alex and Wrong Planet have been featured by the Washington Post, the Los Angeles Times, and Good Morning America. There we go. So without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Alex Plank. Alex?
Thank you. Hi, how are you guys doing today? So, how many of you guys were at the conference in April? Awesome. So basically I'm doing a little different talk. It's a little more generalized. Last time I talked about autism specifically and focused on that. Today I'm going to focus on just me and how disability has affected my life and how it's helped me, having differences has helped me succeed. In fact, I would say that having a distinction like this actually has made me a better person, and the fact that I am like this, I would never have it any other way. I hope you guys agree with that. So first of all, I am going to show you guys basically what I've been doing for the last few months. Since January and February, I've been working on a film, an expose piece, to expose a human rights issue affecting people with disabilities in France. We heard about an issue where individuals with autism were told that, or were basically not getting any services in France. I heard a statistic which came from a survey in France that 80% of children with autism were not going to school, and the ones who do are only going for I guess a few hours a week, and that's obviously not good. We deserve the right to go to school. We deserve the same services that everyone else has. So I went to France along with my co-producer, who I do films with, and he does not have a disability, but we're very good friends, and we went there and we filmed in France to interviewing people to expose this issue. And so I have a trailer, and if you guys can dim the lights.
I had a son who had the Asperger syndrome. When you have a son who is different, but you don't know why he's different, you just know that you have a son that's very different from everybody else, then you don't understand. Why is he acting differently? So you go to see psychiatrists to ask for help. Instead of giving you help, they tell you that you're just a mother who is too possessive, or etc., etc., etc. And I realized what they were telling me wasn't adapted to my son, and I wasn't the mother they were saying that I was. And I became very angry because I had seen so many specialists and who just talked about anything. He had no help and I had no help too, and if you don't have any help, things get worse. And my son eventually committed suicide. The situation in France is so bad that not many people can understand that it is so bad.
I normally start my talks, just to give a background of where I came from, where I started. I was always different as a child. I was not diagnosed with anything until much later. I was 9 actually when I was diagnosed. But up until then, I always had trouble with a lot of different things, social interactions. How many of you guys are familiar with autism? Oh wow, that's good. Basically, how many of you have autism? Awesome, great, good. As you know, individuals with autism have lack of social communication, trouble making eye contact, inability to focus on things other than their special interests. And so I had all those issues. I had a very focused interest of computers. Basically, I also didn't know how to make friends. When I was a little older and able to talk, I believed that the way to make friends was just to walk up to people and ask, will you be my friend, without even introducing myself. So I would go up to people and say, hi, will you be my friend? Oddly enough, that did work to some extent, but not really as much as I would have liked it to or believed it should have. So I had major problems with bullying, and I had major problems with, being called names, and it's really hard when you're growing up and you're constantly excluded from your social group. And the thing was that people didn't know I had a disability. I didn't know anything about it. They just thought I was some kid that they didn't like. So there was not even an explanation for them, as to why I acted in the way that I did. And that caused me a lot of problems. Grade school, I know, was tough for a lot of people. Basically, I went to the public elementary school close to my house. And because that's where they send you to the closest school, usually. And the problem was that I got bullied so much that I would come home crying every day, and I would not want to go to school. And so my parents decided that they would take me out of that school after there was an issue with the teachers actually getting all the kids in a circle in the principal's office at her round table, and they all got to go around and say one thing that they didn't like about me. And my mom decided that, despite the fact that we probably really couldn't afford it, that because parents care so much about their kids. I'm sure there's some parents here, and you guys know that you would do anything for your kids. So my parents made the sacrifices that were necessary to send me to a private school that had a very small class size. And I did much better there because the teachers were very proactive in making sure that bullying wasn't happening. Bullying's a big issue especially for our community, and I think that a lot of times the teachers are the ones that incite it, or the kids see the teacher you can tell the teacher is exasperated or not patient, and then the kids react the same way. They're just taking a cue from the teacher. And so, to say that, bullying's a natural thing for kids to do, a lot of times it's caused by the teachers themselves. We can fix this problem, and I think that there are a lot of things that are being done to fix it, but I don't think that in this way that it's anywhere near where it needs to be. I think there needs to be a lot more programs to prevent that. So, excuse me. That was to remind me to wake up for my talk, in case I was 30 minutes late. I have issues waking up when I change time zones, and so bullying. As you can tell from the picture, I was a big kid. I was able to defend myself. Oh wait, no. But yeah. Another issue for me. There I am. I won the Daughters of the American Revolution essay contest. But homework, I like to have a picture. If you see my other talks, you know that I don't have bullet points. I just have a picture and then a title, and then I talk, because I feel like that's more engaging. And then I also notice people don't keep writing down stuff that is on the PowerPoint that they could get at the end anyway, so they pay attention more. But anyway, enough said about that. The homework situation is very, very tough for people on the spectrum, because we have a lot of trouble focusing enough to do it. And also, as I mentioned before, we have problems being able to focus on anything other than our special interests. Also, a lot of us have, the term is comorbid. I hate that term because it sounds like you're, like this is another thing that might make you die or something, which it's not. You can't die from dyslexia. There are a lot of comorbid conditions with autism. Dyslexia, dysgraphia, you can't write. So that causes problems for us. We don't always have those associated issues, but a lot of times we do, and we also can frequently have ADHD and their learning disabilities and stuff that can go along with it as well. So we need school accommodations. There you go, overtime on all tests and assignments. Let me ask you something. Has a teacher ever said to you, "Oh well, you can't have overtime on your test. That wouldn't be fair to the other students"? Okay, see, look how many people are raising their hand. I can't stand that when teachers say that because it's not fair that you wouldn't give someone something they need. If the other students had the need for extra time on their test, then they should have the need for extra time on their test. Am I right? Yeah. So, extra time is one of the accommodations. Having someone to take notes for you. All of those things were very helpful for me. I also can't write with my handwriting. I can write legibly if I write very, very, very slowly. But then by the time I'm done with that word, they're done with the class. And, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I needed to get a computer, a laptop to type, because I can type very quickly. And also, the other option is having another student take the notes for you, because even when I type on the laptop, I have issues with the whole idea of being able to pay attention and type the words. So I might get all the words down, but then I didn't get the meaning behind it, and even when I reread it, I miss parts, and so that's very important. This right here is my family, and the reason I have this slide is because I think that your family is a very important support that you have, not only if you have a disability, but just as any individual, any human being, having a family, a support network that your family is a part of is incredibly, incredibly important. You definitely need to have a supportive family. If you don't have a supportive family, there are other ways, to get support, but it's harder. The reason that I've been as successful as I have is because my parents were very, very supportive of me. They did things to ensure that I would have all the help I needed in school to be able to pass, each grade. Because there was points in school, especially high school, where I was failing a lot of my classes because I refused to go to school because of the bullying issue. I said, I'm pretty good at taking tests. A lot of people on the spectrum aren't. A lot of people are, and a lot of people with disabilities have a lot of issues with taking tests. As long as I have enough time, I can do the tests. But the issue was if I don't show up to take the test, you get a 0. And so my parents ensured that I had the supports to maybe take the test outside of the classroom if I had problems and things like that. One of the issues, though, that I faced the most in school was the social issue. Making friends was incredibly hard for me, as I mentioned. I had a lot of difficulty. And not only was making friends hard, not making enemies was even harder for me. So what I ended up doing was looking to find other people like me. And there was no one else in my school that I knew of that was diagnosed with Asperger syndrome or autism. Asperger syndrome and autism are basically the same thing. The differentiation is very arbitrary. So, I do call myself autistic as well as an individual with Asperger syndrome. I prefer the term autistic, actually. The person first language is not used as much with autism because I'm not going to talk about the specifics of that, but it's not that I don't realize to use person first. Wow, I forgot how to talk. I know about person first language, and I strongly believe in it. But the term autistic is embraced by the self-advocacy community itself, and I'm not going to get into that, but Anyway, so I couldn't find anyone that was like me. I couldn't find a community back then. There wasn't really a big community in person. You had to go on the internet. And the only issue with that was that I went on the internet and tried to look for people on the autism spectrum. And I couldn't find anyone except for maybe like 2 people. And I searched the entire internet. It didn't make any sense to me that there wasn't a website for people with autism. There were some, but they were very small. And so I decided, along with a friend who I met on another website, one of the few people I met that I actually, talked to, because you can go on the internet and meet like 10 people with autism, and just because they have autism and you have autism, it does not mean that you necessarily want to be their friend. Maybe one of them you will, because it's the same in real life. Just because you don't have autism doesn't mean you're going to be someone's friend. So I went and I started this website, and it was a great thing that I did that because it pretty much saved my life. As I mentioned, I was incredibly depressed in high school. I had a very hard time with all of the social issues. And not only that, I wasn't going to school, so I was failing my classes. And I had very low self-esteem because I didn't know anyone like me. However, once I started this website, not only did I bring together this large community of people with whom I could converse, I also, and this was actually one of the big parts of this, I found self-esteem because people came to me and were like, oh wow, you have an awesome website. I was like, really? Thank you. Because I wasn't used to getting compliments from people. I was used to being called like horrible things and kicked and stuff. So getting that kind of feedback was pretty good for me. And the site became incredibly successful. As mentioned, it has now 70,000 members. I guess that's amazing that back then it was only 50 when the last time they introduced me. But yeah, that is something that really helped me. And it helped so many other people because I think that's what was so powerful for me. The ability to go onto the internet and find another person going through the exact same situation that you are is something that could never have happened if the internet wasn't invented. And before the internet wasn't invented, people weren't able to find people so easily. It was much harder to meet people who shared your specific interests or who had your same disability. But this has empowered people, and also we are very bad in social communication. So having a medium where we can take as much time as we want to respond, because why does it matter how long you take to respond if the other person's still going to read it and respond back eventually? So in face-to-face, it's much harder because people are less patient. That they don't know that you're typing something up. On the internet, you type something up and then you wait. 20 minutes later, you'll get a response from someone. Maybe it took them 20 minutes to write, but you'll get an email and you'll click on it and you'll read that response. If you had the same problem where you talk to someone and you mention something and then in person you said something to someone and then you took 20 minutes to respond, they probably would have walked away. That's happened to me before, mainly because people just didn't want to listen to me. So this is my website. It's called wrongplanet.net. We have articles, how-to guides, videos that show you how to do things. For instance, how many of you guys have wanted to have a date but didn't know what to say? Oh wow, that's quite a few people. Well, actually, if that's the case, who wants to see this video? We can show it right now. It's only a couple minutes. You guys want to? All right, let's do it.
Hi, and welcome to Autism Talk TV. This is the first of a new series of episodes featuring the Peers Center at UCLA, which does social skills training. So in this episode, Alex learns to flirt, and Alex will be flirting with a real girl at a real doctor's office. Stay tuned. Okay.
Hi, we're here with Liz Laugesen, and we're talking about dating etiquette as a part of our social skills series. Liz, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Dating is really important part of a lot of people's lives. And one thing that I think a lot of us have trouble with is letting the other person, your interest, your romantic interest, know that you're interested. I know there's flirting and other ways of making that happen. Could you give me some advice on that?
Well, it's really interesting. They've done all this research that actually kind of breaks down what people do when they're flirting. And if they're flirting effectively, this is what it's supposed to look like. So you start by kind of making eye contact with the person, right? Okay, what do you think you do once you've sort of engaged them in the eye contact? What should you do?
Wait until they look away.
Well, okay, so if we do that, that might make it look like we're sort of staring at them, right? When they look over, let's say I'm looking over at you and you kind of look over at me. Should I do anything that
smile?
I should smile, right? Absolutely. Do I want to do a big toothy smile, or do I want to do maybe just kind of a casual, kind of nice and friendly smile?
Probably casual.
Yeah, probably like a little casual, kind of nice little half smile maybe.
Yeah.
One of the things that you're going to need to be doing before you ever ask the person on a date is assessing whether or not it seems like they're interested in you at all. And so by this point, we should have been trading information and finding some common interests with this person. And that's typically how it starts when you ask someone out on a date. You're just kind of casually talking. You're trading information back and forth. You're talking about something that's interesting to both of you.
Are you watching Midnight in Paris on your iPhone?
I am. Do you know of it?
Yeah, I love Woody Allen.
Oh, so do I. This is one of my favorite movies.
Do you have a favorite of his?
Oh, I don't know. What's yours?
It's called Manhattan.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
Oh man, that's his best movie.
Oh, I should definitely check it out then.
Let's say we find out that we both are interested in seeing some movie that's coming out soon. You might say, well, so what are you doing this weekend? So you're kind of assessing before you ever ask them out how they react to that kind of question. So if they say, oh, nothing.
Yeah, that's a sign that they want you to ask them to do anything.
That's a good sign.
Actually, they're playing it at that art house theater on Sepulveda next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that seems interesting.
Yeah, what are you doing next week?
I don't have any plans as of right now.
Oh, well, you should come with me and watch it.
That would be really fun.
And that's also where you would ask for things like contact information, cell phone numbers, things if you didn't already have them.
Right. Well, you want to exchange numbers or?
Of course.
So basically those are the steps for, asking someone out on a date. You just want to be trading information, find some common interests, ask them if they're sort of available and whatever time. If they seem interested, maybe ask them out related to that common interest, and then, exchange the contact information and all of that.
Now, is there something to be said about practicing these things?
Definitely. I mean, all of the skills that we teach in peers, we not only go over these rules and steps of social etiquette, but then we actually want to demonstrate what they look like to our kids and then have them practice.
Also, we have a discussion forum. Are any of you guys go on the internet, post messages? Yeah! Awesome. Well, basically, what you can do is you can sign up, you can go in there, and you can post a message. And the great thing about this is the minute you post a message, within an hour you'll get tons of responses of people, saying, oh, cool. Let's open example post. Does a bad memory help you or happen with Asperger's? And then you write a question, and you get all these responses. You don't try to read them because it's going to take too long to read all of these. But look at that. And you can have little avatars. You can put a picture of yourself or of anything, and you can say where you're from: Texas, New York. And then New Jersey, etc. So there are people all over the world. There are people from Denmark. There are people from. Well, there's an article by one of our members. She lives in Denmark, so that's great. Now, if you do prefer chatting, we also have a chat room. I'll save that for another time. It looks better when it's on a bigger a computer screen because it's not as blown up. But here's some empowering stuff about bullying. Loving someone with Asperger's, it gets better. John Robison's a columnist. That's an article that we actually have in your packets, this article, so if you guys want to read that. And then we also have an article by Kirsten. You know, and some of the stuff's edgy. You know, we have stuff about sexuality and things like that. But yeah, so that's sort of the whole thing. So let's see. Mirror displays turn off. Sorry about that. So that is Wrong Planet. All right, so college. A lot of you guys might want to go to college. For me, the best part about college wasn't the part where the classes were, it was meeting so many people that could share my interests. All right, so what I liked is going to clubs. I was in Ultimate Frisbee. I actually wasn't in the chess club, but I just put that as an example. I was in the robotics club, there's a picture. That's actually an alligator catching a Frisbee. There were no alligators in our Frisbee thing. Actually, that's not even my picture. I found it on the internet and I typed in Ultimate Frisbee. But, yeah. And so you start making friends, you know? Here's some of my friends. That is Jack Black. He told me that he might have Asperger's, actually. That's what he said. And there's my friend Scotty Holman, also at the very right-hand bottom corner. He is a columnist for Wrong Planet. On the very right is my friend Noah. He is my co-producer, and in the middle is my friend Erica. She's a director and producer. And on the right is John Older Robeson, along with me and some other people, which I can't tell who they are. But yeah, so friends are very important for people in general, not just people with disabilities. And you know what? What I found is I like to have a mixture of friends, like of all different types. And like, you know, I have friends with disabilities. I have friends who don't have disabilities. I have tall friends. I have short friends. I have friends who are in between tall and short. And what I found is that the best way to make friends is to go to these clubs and groups and find people with common interests. I know that sounds easy to do, but a lot of times, you know, we're afraid of being rejected, you know, because we've had that experience in the past. The problem is that if you let that get at you, then you're never going to be able to succeed in that way. It's going to be very hard to succeed if you let your past failures, because you're going to have to fail a lot. I certainly did. The great part about my college is there were 30,000 students there. So I would go through and make friends with some people, and then I would do something that made them not like me anymore, and then I would find a new group that accepted me. And if they kept accepting me, I'd keep them as friends, or they'd keep me. But that's the best part. But you know what I did? I realized that I wouldn't take it personally. If someone didn't want to be my friend, if someone didn't like me, there's a lot of people that probably do want to be your friends. You just have to find them. So don't worry about one person not wanting to be your friend. Don't stress about it. Do not stress about one person not wanting to be your friend, because you will find someone else. It may take a long time. Other things to do are physical activities. There's me jumping, me on a bike, me bowling. There's me on a raft on the river. And there's me walking down the street, which also counts, I guess, as physical activity. I'm not even walking the dog. That is my dog, though, the little dog in the corner on the bottom right. Disclosure. I think disclosure is a very important topic. We frequently have issues with people not understanding why we do the things that we do. Sometimes it's appropriate to give a partial disclosure. That means, oh, well, I have issues with directions, or it takes me a little while to understand what you're saying. You can tell someone that. You don't need to say, I have Asperger's syndrome, I have Down syndrome, I have, whatever you have. You don't need to say that if you don't want to. If you think that it's appropriate, maybe if you know the person really well and you want to explain it, I think that's also a good thing. But don't feel that you need to tell everyone, but also don't feel that you don't need to tell everyone. If you want to tell everyone, like the minute you meet them, it might put some people off, but if it doesn't, yeah, if it does, although sometimes the same people that you would put off if you say it at first, once they get to know you and they're your friend, if you say it then, they're more likely to accept it. So, which I don't think is cool, but that just is the way it works. Role models, very important to have role models. That is not my role model on the very top left. That is me as someone else's role model. There's me and John Elder Robeson, author of Look Me in the Eye. There's me and Stephen Shore, and there's Temple Grandage. That's actually a frame from my film Autism Reality, which I showed at the last thing, and I didn't think I would show the same film twice. But filmmaking is a great way for me to meet people, because when you have a camera, you don't necessarily need to say as much for someone to want to talk to you. They'll be like, oh, well, what are you filming? Or what are you taking pictures of? So having that kind of a tool really helps you make friends and do a lot of stuff like that. So yeah, is anyone here a photographer? I know I saw some people with cameras. You are? You are? You are? You are? You are? Cool. Why do you guys, can someone tell me why they are a photographer real quick? Just one person only, because I only have time for one. You can tell me.
I was a photographer because I like to see things differently. One person see one thing and now see a completely different thing.
Yeah, another thing, we have differences that make us have a very unique eye. That's why a lot of people with disabilities are artists. So I think that's very important. Another important thing is travel. I think that travel broadens the mind. You go to different cultures and people treat you differently, and you realize that human beings are very diverse. That's very important, especially because you're different. And a lot of times when you have a disability and you're in a different country, the fact that you're foreign is like the thing that they point to instead of you having a disability. So having that stigma a lot of times, it's not as big because they have something else to they can put you in that box instead, which, I don't like the idea of boxes, but, sometimes it happens. Self-advocacy. So self-advocacy is very important. I give a lot of talks, and I think that, all of you guys should strive to, and if you're just talking to one person, that's good too. Share your story, tell people things, because the more we talk about, what we go through, the more we share our struggles and what makes us who we are, the more people will be understanding of other people like us. And I think that is very, very, very important. Life management. This is a hard topic for me to discuss because I have quite a difficulty with this. In fact, I still do. Organization. Anyone else here have trouble remembering appointments? And yeah, pretty much almost everyone here has that problem as well. So a lot of you don't, but a lot. What I found, the best thing to do for me, the best thing that ever happened for my organizational skills was the internet and mobile devices. I remember in middle school, my parents decided that they would get me a handspring visor, which is a kind of Palm Pilot that allows you to insert springboard expansion slots, so you can put like GPS and all these different modules. You can play golf with it, like little things in it. And not only did it help me manage time, I was able to put things in the calendar, and then later I would remember them, and I could put it in any time, and I wouldn't have to lose a pencil, because you're not going to lose the device that has all your games on it. That's pretty hard to do, and it's much easier to lose your calendar. So the fact that it has that as well. The other thing is the fact that the internet allows you to sync all your devices. If I put an appointment on my phone at a certain time, it also goes to my computer, it goes to my iPad, and it also notifies my co-producer Noah and friend that I also have that appointment, so he won't schedule anything with me then. So isn't that amazing? I don't have to do anything. Managing I just realized someone was clapping. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. You can continue. But all right. Well, that was good. Managing finances. Even if you don't have drug money, it's hard to. Though that actually is. It was from a DEA raid. I found it on the internet on the federal government's website. I think it's great to use mainly credit cards because it's easier to keep track of that. You're much more accountable. The stores are much more accountable if they try to like take advantage of you on your credit card, and you show your credit card bill to someone else to look at. Like, hey, look at this. Is this right? And then they're like, no. And then you can call up the credit card company and tell them that you were scammed, and then they'll give you back the money. And a lot of times, what I found is that they'll not only give you back the money, but you can keep the thing that you bought for $8 billion instead of $1. So, work and finding a job. For me, the best way to find a job was to meet people and to talk to people. And the reason for that is that we have differences, and if you're not familiar with someone with differences and you're trying to hire someone and someone comes in that is different, a lot of times they just don't want to hire us. But if you make a friend and and they happen to be working at a company that needs a job that you would be good at, you have much more likelihood of getting the job. In fact, I work in the film industry as a producer and director, and I'll tell you this: you can be the worst director in the entire world, and if you know someone who is your friend and they're in a position of power and want to hire you, they'll hire you and you'll get work. So you'll be the worst director ever, and you'll be getting. That's why there's so many bad movies. You'll be getting work. However, if you're the best director in the world and you don't know anyone in LA or something in the industry, and you try to get a job, you're not going to get it because it's only given to people that are friends. And I think that's true in the world in general. It's more true in the film industry, but it's very common. So I think make a lot of connections in areas that you want to work. If you go to a coffee shop all the time, just talk to the people there and ask them how their day is at first. Start having a little rapport. Start talking with other people at the coffee shop, and then once they're your friend, once they know who you are, if you want to ask them, hey, do you know if you need someone to be a barista here, someone to do the dishes, someone to do the cash register, any of those things, someone to unload the trucks at the back when they have the stuff, any of that stuff, they might say yes, we need someone. Or they might even have a sign one day, and then guess who's going to be the one that they ask? It's going to be you, because they like you and they already know that you're friendly. Dating, this is one of the Real Housewives of Orange County, actually. She's my date for that photograph. So one of the problems with dating is that a lot of people say that people with disabilities don't date, and I think that's stupid. We had a conversation about this last night. I think that you should be trying to date as much as you want, and sexual stuff is fine too. People with disabilities are just like everyone else. They have needs and wants and desires, and they're cool people. So, if someone says, oh, we shouldn't date because you have a disability, tell them to go. Well, I'm not going to say it because it's like a bad word, but tell them to go, and then I'm going to say blank, and then I'm going to say off. This is a question. Should you be yourself? Awesome.
We can be ourselves. We can be ourselves. We can be
Yes, and of course I accept you for who you are. You are someone I need to change. Driving, I always like to talk about driving just because I like cars. It can be dangerous at times, as you can see. That guy's car burning up on the freeway. It actually was my Range Rover that burned up on the freeway, and now it's no longer my car. I called my insurance company. They said, I called AAA, and they're like, well, technically, sir, it's no longer a car anymore, so we're not going to tow it. It's just a pile of burnt up metal. Did I pay $100 a year for you guys, and now you won't tow my car, but I need to get rid of it? Then I had to pay $300 for it. So driving is fun, if you can. Other thing, public transportation. By the way, there's me. This is from another conference. One of the women at the conference, who was like a therapist or something, her mom had a convertible, and she let me drive the car to Chicago. Isn't that awesome? And I didn't crash it. It was very fast though. That brings me to ask for help. Very important to ask people for help because you don't necessarily, everyone needs help, even people without disabilities, you know, like don't feel too proud. I mean, because I want you guys to feel proud, and I, you know, I'm trying to instill that. And you know what? You can feel proud and realize that other people want to help you. So feel proud that you know your friend offers to help. If you don't need their help, you know, you can say, no, it's okay. But you know, and if you do, say, yeah, sure. But don't feel that you need to protect your pride because you are cool no matter what. You know, like that's what pride is all about. That's what self-esteem is all about. It's not about, oh, well, people tell me I'm cool. It's about feeling that you're cool yourself. And then other people will think you're cool because of that. Another way for job stuff is an internship. I'd say I worked at AOL, and the reason I got the job is because why is there someone clapping for AOL? All right. Cool. It used to be very popular. That was a way that I got on the internet when I was, because the first time that I got on the internet was like the best experience of my life. You know, like the fact that I was able to go on there and like research all my special interests and talk to people without having to look them in the eye and like, you know, like have to, you know, like, because I sometimes have auditory processing issues. I hear what they're saying, but I don't process it, and so that later someone's like, well, I told you this, and I'm like, no, you told me that, and they're like, no, I'm pretty sure I did, and that happens enough to me that I'm pretty sure that they're probably right usually. So yeah, so internships are good. How much, am I good on, how much time? Oh, so I just rushed through it because I thought I was, all right, well, we'll go back then. Travel. So as I was saying, I think that there's other stuff at the end, but I'm calculating the time. How many of you guys have gone to another country? All right, let's hear it. Can someone shout out their favorite, everyone shout out your favorite country at once. Awesome. So the reason I was saying to travel is because, right, I guess that really caused a conversation about everyone's favorite travel destinations. Talking about travel, I don't know. Do you guys want? Should I show another video? I mean, I feel like one more short video to end everything off. Hi, and welcome to a very special episode of Autism Talk TV. I'm here in the hills of Hollywood, California, where I sat down with the cast of the NBC series Parenthood. Parenthood's a great show that deals with parents trying to raise their kids, and one of those kids happens to be a kid on the autism spectrum. His name is Max, and he actually happens to be played by an actor named Max. I sat down with Max and Monica Potter, the actress who plays his mother, and I talked with the rest of the cast of Parenthood. So let's go to the clip. Hi,
Nice to meet you. Hi, Alex. I'm Monica.
Nice to meet you, Max. Nice to meet you, Max. How did you get involved with the show?
Well, I read the script, and Jason Kadams is our producer and our creator, and he actually has a son that has autism, and it was really a great script, and I knew that I wanted to be a part of it, and I'm happy that I said yes, because now we're here today at the autism event, and we meet people like yourself.
Yeah. Max?
I read the script, and I came.
You loved it?
I auditioned a bunch. I loved the script. I loved the character. I loved the role. I thought it was amazing. I really wanted to do it. I got it, and now I'm having the best time of my life.
what about for you? What's it like playing? I guess are you? You're
I'm the mom.
Mother of a.
Yes,
of a
I
character
play
with
Max's
Asperger's.
mom, Christina Braverman, and it's a learning process. I feel like sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's not. It's challenging to figure out how to deal with a child that has Asperger's because you don't know when they're going to have the temper tantrums or the meltdowns, and how they are, developing differently than other children, but they're also so amazing and so smart and so positive, and it's incredible.
What have you learned from this? Like, what's the biggest thing that you've learned from
Patient. I think how parents have to be very patient. In general, parents have to be patient, but especially with a child with Asperger's syndrome, they really have to be patient. But also they're very blessed, with the gifts that the children have and they bring to the table, and it's incredible.
Okay, biggest thing I've learned that this is such a widely spread syndrome. I had no idea before. I thought it was just like a really extremely rare thing before I went into this, but now I know
That's very important that you know
it's
that.
a huge syndrome.
I'm here with the cast of a show called Parenthood, which deals with the issue of Asperger's syndrome and autism, and we are here interviewing them. All right. So had you heard about autism before the show?
Yeah. I mean, I'd heard about autism and Asperger's. I'd read like a book about, Augustine Burroughs, like his brother.
I'm very good friends with Augustine Burroughs.
No way.
And
cool.
John, I used to live with John.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
I just moved from his house because I was living.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I'm like excited now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have
That's what
you read
I
the
had
new one?
known. No.
Gotta check out the new one.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
I'd only read like an essay talking about his brother. I'd read more Augustine Burroughs, but he has like a thing about his brother and how his brother's like a genius and all that.
Amazing guy.
Yeah. So that's what I knew.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Connection.
Yeah, cool.
I have a couple friends who have children with autism, or who are somewhere on the spectrum, and so I had heard about it, and I'm happy to be here today.
So do you do any work with kids with autism, or do you have any experience with it, or?
We essentially do any Autism Speaks thing that we're invited to, being part of the cast, and otherwise, like Jason Kadams, who created Parenthood's son, has autism, and so we know him and like his behavioral aid and anything like that.
Could you explain the character that you play on the show?
Yeah, I play my brother. My little brother is the kid who has Asperger's on Parenthood, and so I play a sister and just dealing with, like at the beginning of the show, he didn't know, nobody knew that he had it, but he's diagnosed, and he's just recently in this season found out that he does have it himself, and so it's dealing with that and dealing with like outbreaks.
Is it frustrating sometimes?
Frustrating?
Yeah.
We definitely didn't get it. Like the first season, it's different now. At first we were like, what is Max doing? Like Max was crazy. Was everything, whenever we had to react to him, it was like, oh my God. And now it's like more of a rhythm. But I mean, he does such a good job of like having the outbursts and acting like he has Asperger's. I think that it's just easy to react to him.
I play her cousin, so Max's cousin. My connection to his character on the show is a lot. It's not as close, obviously, as a sister, but we all have had, there's a lot of dinner scenes and stuff. We recently, in the finale, had a scene where Max had a bit of a, like a tantrum kind of at the hospital, yeah. And it's interesting because, like she was saying, Max is so good that it's kind of like, when you don't really rehearse with him, when you just start shooting, it's like you really do have a real reaction to it because Max is so good. So it's, I don't know, it's been very interesting.
I have a crush on his mom. I play an English teacher, Mr. Sear, who enjoys the company of Sarah Braverman. And I actually haven't had any scenes with Max. But I watch the show and I'm profoundly affected by it, and I think it's, as someone who doesn't have a daily relationship with autism, I really feel like I've gone on a journey with a real family. I mean, from the moment they find out that he's on the spectrum, through all of the different obstacles that they come across. I really feel like I've gotten a sense of it, and because the show is really good about being accurate and things like that. I think it's nice to have a show that is educational in that way and provides a forum for learning about autism.
I think that was awesome. Like to run into the cast of Parenthood, a hit television show on NBC that deals with a character with Asperger, is just an amazing turn of events that I was able to do that.
If we could give one more Illinois thank you to Mr. Alex Plank. Please, what do you say? Alex, will you be able to spend some time with us the rest of the conference?
I'm going to be here until Wednesday, so I'll be hanging out with all you guys the whole time. So come up to me afterwards, introduce yourself, and
all right.
Awesome, thank
well,
you.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna unpack my stuff. You can do your
okay.
closing remarks.
So now we're going to go ahead and do the breakout session, but we would encourage you to rush back here for lunch, for the open mic lunch. So enjoy. Nice job, very nice job.
Thanks.
Good job, Alex. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent.